Kenny here with Gardening Simplified. It's September 24th and we're going to start a new project today. Today we're going to try planting mushrooms. Now I've got some shiitakes here and I have some lion manes. And it's a simple procedure. You got to have a log. Now you want a log that's been cut a month or so, what they normally say. Now this one's been here a few months. We did a fresh cut on the end. You don't want one that's been laying on the ground that it's going to possibly be start getting inoculated from any fungi that's there, any wild mushroom spore that might be there. So this one's good. It was on a pile of logs that we had cut. And now sometimes they say take the leachings off, but it doesn't affect them as far as a lot of the mushroom growers say. They don't notice any different leaving them on. So we're not going to do that. You want a log that's a manageable size, uh, 4 or 6 inches, depending on what you can manage. Now this one here is probably closer to about 7-8 inches. So it'll be no problem. We've got 100 plug spawn. You can order these spawn. Now this is from Majestic Mushroom. I purchased these off eBay, but you could go to their site and purchase them just as well. Now what we do is first we have to drill a hole, and we've drilled some holes down in here. Now I actually purchased a bit because it's got to stop. It gets your depth like you need to be in, and it's not a hassle of trying to use a regular drill bit, which would work. It's going to be a little bit slower. And they do make some of these that are really fast that'll fit on an angle grinder, but I'm not going into all that. And what you do is you drill holes about 4 to 6 inches apart. It could be a little more. And then you move over a couple inches, and you're going to, between where you drilled those holes, you're going to start another row. Now you're going to continue to do that. You'll move over 2 inches again, and you'll start another row. And what you're going to do is you're going to put these, drive all these plug spawn in here, and then we're going to take some beeswax. We're going to heat it up, and we're going to cover these holes. That way it keep moisture in better, and encourage them to inoculate this whole log. And now when you do this, don't expect you do this in a few weeks or a month, you're going to start growing mushrooms. This is a long-term project. Normally it takes about a year. Now there are ways to force them, and you can cause them to come out, start putting on earlier. But figure on a year. You're going to have to keep these logs in a moist place, or moisten them down so they stay moist. Once I finish this whole procedure, what I'm going to do is wet this log down because it has been sitting kind of dry. And we're going to put it in a place to where where it's going to stay moist. It's not, you don't want this in direct sun where it's going to keep drying it out. Otherwise you're not going to do as well. So anyway, I'm going to finish drilling these holes. Okay, when you go to put these in, and I figured I'd show this first, you just take a rubber mallet and take and just drive these in. It'll drive them just a little bit below the surface. Now the stuff that is on these, this is the mushroom spawn, what it's been inoculated with. And you can see how some of it's growing together. It's going to, it'll affect it to where some will have more, some will have less. And it's possible you might have some loose in there from transportation and stuff. It gets knocked off, and you can poke that in the hole if you want. It's not going to hurt it. But there's nothing like, now you can buy shiitake mushrooms in the store, but they're not going to be like the mushrooms that you grow, because the difference is shiitake mushrooms are completely different when they're grown on a log than when they're grown in sawdust. Their texture is more meaty. Their flavor is better, and because that's a more natural way. But anyway, let me finish up drilling these holes. All right, I got all the plugs put in my logs. I took and heated up my beeswax here, and what I'm doing is I'm taking and I'm daubing this on each one of these plugs. That kind of seals them up. What we're trying to do is keep any wild spores out. And now these places where this barks off and stuff, a lot of times people would worry about this. I'm not going to worry too much. If another spore gets on here, we'll know what kind we've got, and we'll just remove any others. Now, when you take and grow fungi or mushrooms on here, now they'll start to produce. They call it a flush. You have some come out and you can harvest, and then you'll get another flush, and slowly they'll get, the first couple are pretty heavy. After that they slow down, but they can produce for a pretty good while until they're devouring this log. So when the resources runs out, they're going to run out. There might be a chance that, say, if you had other logs underneath this log, that they would take and maybe get spores and get inoculated naturally. But I don't think I would really depend on that. Now, once you heat up your wax, your beeswax, it usually hangs in there as far as it stays warm for a while. I should be able to do this whole log here. And it seems that I lost my mic again, so I'll try to narrate you through this. But anyway, I'm going to finish coating all these up. But I do want to say that when you're going to grow mushrooms, if you plan to try this, then take and select a variety that's that you think you're going to get good use out of. And that was kind of what mine is. Lion's mane is kind of a medicinal mushroom, and which shiitake is too. They've got different purposes that they serve. So it's when you're eating them, you're actually getting some added benefits as far as just not well, I guess it is nutrition. Now the shiitake, it's a good one if you're trying to take meat out of your diet. Shiitake's got a nice firm, when it's log grown, it's really got a nice firm body on it, the cap, and you can actually feel the weight difference if you compare it to store-bought versus the log grown, and that's because they're much more nutrient dense. And another thing I want to be sure that you're aware of too, when you're doing more than one variety, when you're putting them in, you use the little rubber mallet, and you'll want to go ahead and wash and clean that mallet. Otherwise, you're going to have some spawn on there that possibly could get transfer it over to your other one. And you do want to wash your hands too, because you're handling them. Now you won't have to worry so much with your wax, because it's laying down on top of them, so you shouldn't pick it up with your brush. And make sure that you label the ends. Now I had these aluminum tags, and so I could just write on there, put the date. That way you know how long it takes, and such as that. And you'll be sure to, if you have a failure, you'll know what it is. And it depends on how many you grow to. Uh, if you like this content that you're uh, seeing here, and if you can overlook the technical difficulties, well, you want to see more, just hit that subscribe button, uh, hit the bell, select all, and that way you'll be sure and get notified anytime I post a new video. And of course, give her a big thumbs up and share it. Really helps my channel. Enjoy that gardening experience.